Hello out there and welcome to Around Akron with Blue Green. Today we have a jam-packed show all about that city right there, Akron, Ohio. We're heading down to Sweet Mary's Bakery, who offers some of the best baked goods in downtown Akron, all made from scratch. Then we're going to talk to a local musician, Zach. Now Zach's not only a musician, he is a promoter of peace, of love, of happiness, and everything good in the city of Akron. Then we're going to head over to the Kenmore neighborhood and talk to the Vaill brothers about how they brought the Rialto Theatre back to Kenmore Boulevard. And to start this show off today, we're going to go talk to BMe. BMe is a fantastic organization in the city of Akron that helps promote strong leadership and African American males. Let's go see what BMe's all about.
So what BMe is simple. It's a network, a growing network of community builders and people of all races and genders that believe that African American men are assets to the community and believe in making a better, more prosperous, caring community.
BMe means to me giving back and impacting your community, making a difference. I have a passion for working with youth, so being a mentor and inspiring youth to be the best that they can be, and give them an avenue where they can be successful and have something to look up to.
It gives them someone to model themselves after. Nowadays, there's so much going on in the world and the news that they really don't, outside of ball players and things like that. So I believe that it gives these kids, male and female, just someone to model themselves after that's doing something great for the community.
Inspiring, mentoring, creating, transforming how Black men are looked at. They are doing positive things in the community, from coaching to handing out coats to children who need them, to mentoring, to helping with college grants and tuition. They're doing so many positive things. I'm just glad that they have a platform now that is allowing them to tell their story and allowing them to be who they are.
So for every African American man that's doing something bad, there's a million of them that's not, right? So I always look at the media, at the end of the news where they says, and in other stories, there's a cat in the tree and the fireman came and got him. And everybody says, this is a good story. And they ended on a minute or 60-second, if you will, story about this cat, and the news goes off. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could commission our news broadcasters to spotlight some of the stories that these African American men are doing in their communities? That's what I'm about. I want to be able to do that. Let's take some time on our news or our radio stations and celebrate the stuff that we're doing, because it's easy to talk about the bad stuff, right? But the bad stuff is here. From where I see it, there's this much good stuff, but we're not talking about it. And BMe is doing that, not this.
Reach one, teach one. The more people you reach and you inspire, the better you're making their lives, the lives around them. It's like passing it forward, passing it forward. It helps more people, and the more people that get involved, it helps more families, it helps more youth. And at the end of the day, I think, one of the purposes are to make the community, the United States, our nation, the best we can do. And by building this network all over, I think we're heading in that direction, especially in this day and time where, the reality of it, everything's not great everywhere.
The importance of strong leaders in the community, again, nowadays, because of so much on TV and social media, that's what they watch. Those are the things that are implanted in our children's minds. So to me, to have a leader in front of you doing community work, it's a difference. It's something that you can say, wait, that's not on TV. They're right here in my own city, and I can join in and I can help bring the community where it needs to be and not what they see on social media.
BMe is the platform that allows you to be you. I can be me and be a part of this network. You don't have time, but being a part of this network is going to allow you the opportunity to get involved with people that you may need to reach.
Growing up, people see themselves a certain way based on the stuff they see through media, music. Let's be honest, socialization. They see themselves through socialization, the things that they're brought up seeing. So I believe if you see negativity in your surroundings, I don't care if it's school, unfortunately it could be church sometimes, you know. You can see negative imagery all over the place. Parents, school, work, friends, music, movies. So you tend to emulate what you see, right? So if BMe is in the city, which it is, right? The idea is, what can we do to, instead of show you all these stories that you normally see, let's create these other stories. And here's, to be honest, we're not creating those stories. Those stories already exist. We just want to be the storytellers, the author of our own stories. And by doing that, we then show people an alternative to what they're seeing.
Visit our website at www.bmecommunity.org and fill out a profile, take the pledge. If you believe that people should value all members of the human race, if you believe that black men are assets to our community, and if you believe that we should all reject negative narratives that denigrate people of any race, creed, color, religion, sex, then you've already taken the pledge. Just hit the button.
We're here at 1000 Kenmore Boulevard, and this is the Rialto Theatre. Now, at one time, there was a huge marquee here, and this was an actual theater. And then it went to the wayside until two brothers walked in and saw potential in this place. And they brought back a music venue, a recording studio, an art venue, a little bit of everything good back to Kenmore Boulevard. Now, let's go in and see what the Rialto Theatre's all about.
Currently, we're in almost a speakeasy because there's not much out front, or a sign for that matter. We've been low key. You know, once the marquee is together, you'll be able to see us from a mile up the road. But we are at 1000 Kenmore Boulevard, and it's a different view from the inside than the out. The first time I walked in this place, I actually, my brother and I saw vision, but the funny thing is we had a roommate that was living with us at the time, and Nate and I saw this place beforehand, and I remember the first time he walked in here, he said, absolutely not, we are not moving in this place, because this place was, it was a mess, and a business-minded, savvy person would be like, no, we are not putting any money in investment. But Nate and I did, and we are blessed enough now where we have support from the community and groups and stuff, so it was all worth it, for sure.
I remember walking in being like, man, where's this place gonna go? And it's funny because to think of it where it was and back to where it is now, it's just it's been a long road. I mean, I slept on a chair, not a couch, but a chair, for the first couple months, and drink coffee, you know, instead of having a meal. At the same time, we were doing the same what we wanted to do. We didn't have a boss. It was hard, but it was better than having a boss.
The Rialto Theatre is, again, this space, and the history of this building, 100 years ago, this place was, from what we understand, is built in around 1912. So this is a well over 100-year-old building. When it was first structured, for about 40 years, to I think the mid-50s, this place was called the Rialto Theatre. It was a cinema at the time. It wasn't as much music and culture or art as it was for cinema. So when we found that out, when we moved in this space, you know, outside of the dreams and the goals, the space was not did not look like that. It's been commercialized with apartments up top, and it was a retail space for 50 years. So the inside was not set up, as from what we understand, as it was 100 years ago, or even 60 years ago in the 50s. So the space was called the Rialto Theatre, and we found that out by doing a couple of rehearsals and stuff in here for our band and a couple of friends' bands. We put on a little Christmas party, and a friend of ours, Grandma, she's from Kenmore, and this is kind of when we first found out. We told her of our goals to make this a music venue and whatnot. The recording studios were here at the time. We found out that this space was a cinema, and it was called the Rialto Theatre. And we're like, wow, that's kind of cool. Let's, as the weeks and the months went by, when the structure was forming and all that, we were like, well, what should we call this? What should we call this space? And we thought to ourselves, as we met a couple more who actually physically just came in here to see what the space looked like, they told us stories of being in the Rialto Theatre. And these are all, and as the name came out and promotion has started, we were getting more and more stories of how people have been in here and how they shared a memory in the space. So what we decided to do was, this is one way we can give back to the community. Let's rename this space the Rialto Theatre.
The idea of owning this place really made me excited in the sense that we could do whatever we wanted with this place. We knew we had really good people, and that never scared us. It never scared us in the sense that we weren't going to be able to make something out of this. It took us about 4 months, and we started getting clients in with the studio, and it kind of just took off from there.
We do have a knack for where we can help put a staple on a community that needs it, and community organization, and we believe that art and culture are huge, parts of creating a community where businesses will come, people will come, and the local community can expand and grow. We decided, what a great idea to not only have two recording studios, and then you have this space where it's, we can put a music venue here, we can put an art venue here, we could put so it kind of tied into the culture dynamic that we wanted to have.
Next up is the troubadour of peace, Zach. Now you might know Zach as a musician, but did you also know he's an author? He's a placemaker, he's an organizer, and he's an all-around good guy that does a lot for the city of Akron. Let's go check out Zach and see what makes him tick in this segment called Movers and Shakers.
Positivity is contagious. It really is. And I know negativity is also contagious, but positivity is contagious in a very deep way. Just the simplest thing, smiling at somebody, automatically, like you're probably smiling a little bit, right? Putting events on is a large and beautiful process, and I've been very blessed to be doing events for at least, 12 or 13 years that I've been involved with throwing some sort of event. And I think the more that I do it, the more that I realize that collaboration is huge. Building a team is huge. I know when I first got started in the first few events that I would throw would be me doing everything. Like I would have to put it all together, and like I didn't understand that it's impossible to do that. To do it successfully, it's very hard to do it by yourself, and it really involves a team. Finding people with skill sets that are complementary so that everybody can do what they're really good at or what they really are passionate about. And I found that's been a huge key to the success of the things that I've done, is really surrounding yourself with a great team of people that know what they're doing, and are able to do what they need to do. And then it doesn't become, as difficult for any one person to put on. There's no huge burden that's placed on any one person or one organization to make things happen, especially as we get into times where money is difficult or money is tight. If we all kind of pitch in and do a little something together, it's a little easier to do the barn raising than it is trying to do it ourselves. I've been deeply, deeply influenced by Gandhi, and from the very first thing that I ever read of his or heard about, something really clicked, and it's been very important in my life to look at that idea of being the change that you wish to see, which is often overstated and kind of has become a bit trite at this point. But when you really look at it and try to look at your own life and say, okay, how is, in this minute, am I being what I want to see? How is the words that I'm saying, how is that building the world that I want to see? How are the actions that I'm doing? How is every little process of my life adding up to that more peaceful, more collaborative, more collective world that that I wish to be a part of, and I wish to see, and that I think that we can all get to. Several years ago, some friends and I started a transformational festival in Akron, downtown Akron, for Akron, by Akron, called the Big Love Fest. And through that process, we really realized that placemaking was something very dear to our hearts, and that it was something that we'd been doing on our own, but collectively kind of came to understand the power of it a bit more, and that places are really special and really sacred. And Akron, we have a lot of vacancies, we have a lot of empty lots, we have a lot of closed businesses, and we've gotten to a point where we walk past them, we look through them, we don't notice them, they just kind of sit on our subconscious all the time. And so placemaking is really a way to change how we see things, to really to be able to look at a vacant lot and say that's not a vacant lot at all, that's a playground, that's a gathering space, that's where we can come and have fires and potlucks, and we can see buildings that have been way past their heyday. We can see it as something different. We can see that as the possibility to turn that into something that people can love and people can interact with and engage with. That we can put art on the street. That all of this space and place is what we want it to be, what we make it. I really love Akron. I really do. And, as a musician traveling around the country, I've definitely had my moments of saying, should I move somewhere else? Should I be in some other vibrant community, or some community that already kind of gets it, or is where I want to be, where I want to see things. But I always come back to Akron, and Akron is a very special place. And I think there's a lot of great things about Akron. I mean, we're right at a national park. We've got Portage Lakes with all of this beautiful water. There's a lot of natural amenities that are nice. Seasons, the leaves change, maple syrup, every single weekend there's 10 events that are incredible. And that's just events, not talking about the projects and the organizations and the just gatherings that are happening more and more. So it's beautiful and special, and I'm honored to be able to be here and to call Akron home.
And last but not least, we're going to check out Sweet Mary's Bakery here. Now, Sweet Mary's Bakery is a pioneer in a sense because they chose to come to the downtown Akron area. They could have been in any of the suburbs or any of the other communities around Akron, but they chose downtown Akron because they realized there's a renaissance going on in downtown Akron. And much like the pioneers, she makes everything from scratch. Let's go check this out.
When I was pretty little, probably 6 or 7 maybe. I made my own recipe for sweet rolls, yeasted sweet rolls. I don't know if they were any good. My mom said they were, but she's also just kind. Really, as early as I remember, we always had a lemonade stand, but we'd sell cookies. Other kids just had lemonade, and I said, well, you need something to eat to go along with these, so we'd make cookies. And my dad actually stayed home and taught us, so my sisters and I would be in the kitchen. My mom would be at work, and my dad sometimes he'd be taking a nap in the living room, and we were supposed to be studying, and we're in the kitchen making a mess with everywhere with cookie dough, and so it was. He'd wake up and there'd be cookies everywhere, and he couldn't be too mad about it because he liked to eat cookies. So. I guess I was always an entrepreneur without knowing it. When I was little, being an entrepreneur was never really presented as a viable job opportunity, but it was just always something that I was doing. Whether it was at Halloween and Easter, I would save my Easter candy and my Halloween candy, and then when my sisters ate all theirs, I'd sell them mine piece by piece, because I'd rather have the 25 cents a piece than eat the candy myself, so I would do that. My advice to any entrepreneurs out there, or budding entrepreneurs, is educate yourself. I went to every class that SCORE offered, every class I could find through the Small Business Development Center, and they're all free. They're all free classes. So some of them I took 2-3 times just to make sure I absorbed all the information. Really, it's about educating yourself and making sure you know what you're getting into. It's hard work. It's a lot harder than being a bill collector. Being a bill collector, I went in, I clocked in at 9 and I left at 5, and then my day was over. And here I work probably 80 to 100 hours a week, but it's a lot more satisfying. But it's knowing what you're getting into and knowing where you want to go with it. I think a lot of that is really it's planning and organizing, and to never think that you can do it by yourself, because you can't. Whether it was my family or other people in Akron, Akron is unique in that if you reach out, there will be someone who is willing to help you. I grew up in West Akron, so I was very close to downtown, and I took dance at the University of Akron Dance Institute for about 8 to 10 years, and so I came through downtown a lot, and it was upsetting to me to see so many things boarded off. I mean, my grandparents met at Polsky's. They both worked at Polsky's, and so downtown was very dear to my heart. So when I said Akron, I wanted to open in Akron, I knew it was downtown. We'd looked other places, but nothing really felt right. But when I started walking through downtown, I was like, this is where it needs to be. So we picked a spot in downtown, and everybody, of course, was saying, why downtown? When the week before we opened, I got a call from the Akron Beacon Journal, and Katie Byard asked me, she said, well, do you think there's going to be enough business for you downtown? There's a lot of people downtown. I mean, the first few weeks we were open, people were coming in and saying, thank you for being here. Thank you for opening downtown. I'm not just doing this because I want to have my own bakery. With a lot of it, I feel like Akron needs this. Akron needs somebody to step out and say, no, Akron's viable. We can do this. And so if we want people to live downtown, businesses have to go first. Nobody's going to want to move into a downtown with nothing open on the weekends. So I feel like if I make enough of a splash and I stick my neck out there and people start coming downtown on the weekends, then people will start living downtown. There wasn't anything like this here, and the idea of going somewhere, whether it's Cleveland or New York City or even Fairlawn, where there's already a saturation of that, just seemed like a bad idea. Like, why would you put something somewhere where there's already a saturation of that? I would much rather fill a void than just follow everybody else where everybody else went. But I feel every extra 5 minutes it might take you to support a local product, it comes back tenfold to the city. So they'll be able to produce more products, and next thing you know, Akron's going to be more viable. I think a lot of times people don't if you don't see the impact that you make immediately, you think there isn't one. But it's important to know that every little support that somebody gets from someone as far as local business, it just causes ripples, and everything starts snowballing. And I think that's a big part of what's happening in Akron right now is everything kind of started snowballing. And we're getting to a point now where it's big enough that people can see it happening now.
Thank you for tuning in to Around Akron with Blue Green. For more information, check us out on the web at aroundakronwithbluegreen.com or look us up on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram for all that extra footage that never actually made it to the show. Thank you so much, Akron, for watching, and tune in next time to Around Akron with Blue Green.
Mountaintop, look out over it all. See the river twist and curve and sing, and see what man could be. My soul